Okay, so let me start with one of my personal story. I want to share with you a story of many years back, specifically April 24th, 1988. I still remember that day. It was quite important for me. I've been at a Girl Scout trip, and our leader approached me and said, like, are you ready for the Scout promise? And at that time, everything like stopped. I felt like surprised, shocked. I felt like, what shall I do? What shall I say? And I felt that responsibility coming on me. All my life went through my mind. And the only thing I was able to say was like, well, I think so. I hope. And I remember she was like, you're going to make it. That's okay. You're going to be fine. And smile. And I was like, yeah, I was like happy, right? And later that night, there have been 3 of us coming through that Scout Promise celebration. And you can smell the fire, the sap from the starting sticks. And you can hear that song, which starts in a low, low voice. And as the fire got bigger and bigger, it became louder and louder. I still remember that thing. And it was the first time I became part of some community other than the family. It was the first time I felt like I belong to you. I have some others who are here with me. I felt the responsibility because from that time on, I felt now I have to help the others to become better. I have to help the others on their journey. But I felt I'm not alone. And the first time in my life, I felt like I'm part of something. It's about us and not me. It was my first tribe I ever belonged to. And every organization has some tribes, multiple of them. There are different environments. The tribe you can recognize, people who meet each other, they say, hey, hello, how are you? Are you good? Cool, right? And every organization has some dominant tribe culture. Some culture which is critical and help the organization to become the most successful in the world, or actually put a fence in between of their success and their current state. And before I move on, I would like you to shout out back to me, what's your association? In which environment you are now, back at your organization? What will be your first association with the culture, with the tribe? Shout back. Family, smart. What else? Friendly, good. Good. All great things. So you're working in a very good organizations. Awesome. Yeah, swamp. So let's start from that swamp. There are 5 stages. The first one, life sucks. And I don't think you people, you got it. Because you're smiling all the time. But really, life sucks. It's really that bad. And I feel really alone in this world. There is like no one like me. And I don't really understand you. And it's frustrating and bad. And the good news is that you rarely see this tribe in your type of organizations. In IT, we don't see it that much. It's a tribe which is common in prisons or street gangs, right? But it exists still. 2% of the organizations are having that type of leadership place to live. The second stage, It's much more fun. Actually, my life sucks. Because I have an idiotic boss. And my life sucks because I had to travel to this conference for 3 hours, wake up in the early morning, and my life sucks because we have a bad coffee in our company. And I could continue, right? There is always plenty of those reasons why your life is really bad. 25% of the organizations are having people in this tribe. Not much fun, right? So the typical management style is a carrot and a stick. So we believe, as leaders of those organizations, that first of all, those people are not that smart. Second of all, they only work when we give them something. So we came up with all those appraisals and hierarchical structures and bonuses and KPIs. And also we tell something like, if you don't finish your sprint, you're going to lose your bonus. Or we fire you. And we kind of believe that all those people are just lazy slackers. If we don't stay with the stick and control them all the time, they would be on their Facebook or playing games. Yeah. They're really bad people. Right? So my life sucks. Then it's starting to be better. Very common, 49% of all organizations worldwide, right? Which says, I am great, and you are not. Yeah, I'm really great. And if I don't tell you what you're supposed to do, you would never make it. You need me to tell you what to do. Because I'm much better than you are. By the way, a lot of those managers from the previous organizations are from this world. Because they believed, yeah, I'm good because I become a manager. Well, those people could become the managers as well, if they even try a little. But they don't. They don't try. They're just lazy, right? Or not smart. Maybe they're just not smart. Yeah, that could be, right? Well, yeah, I think so. But I'm an expert, right? It could be also an expert. I write a great code. And they are not. They just, I don't know. It's so simple and they never learn it. Really. So this environment came up with a notion of different style of leadership, where we believe that the people are not creative, not smart in general, right? So we have to have the smart guy on top who gives orders. And you just follow, of course, because you're not that smart, so you have to follow. Hopefully you can at least follow, right? So that's the mindset of this thing. And that's a traditional waterfall thing, right? We believe the process will solve it. We tell them what to do, and they're just doing it. That's what they are. And actually, in this environment, it's very common when we have some toxins. So it's full of blaming. It's his fault. Actually, yeah, I'm sure it's his fault. And why? Because there is a lack of security, lack of trust. And if I find somebody who is responsible for that, it's not my fault anymore. And they keep me alone. And actually, I'm not even trying as a person in that organization, because those managers, those people who lead, those leaders over there, they anyway don't believe in me anyway. So no, not really, right? So blaming. When you have a blaming, there is defensiveness. No, it's not my fault. It doesn't look like that, right? Then we have a stonewalling. When the person is repeating all the time the same thing, Well, for example, when you have a Scrum team already, and there is a person who say, no, it's 5. For me, it's 5. 5 story points. And then you try to explain, say, no, it's fine. It's 5. Still 5. No matter what I hear, because I'm not listening anyway. And the last one is contempt or sarcasm or irony. We as a Czechs, we are great at irony. We use it like all the time. So whenever something happens, we have those funny remarks. Saying like, oh, really? Do you mean that quality is this? Really? And then the person feels really bad, right? And as a result of that, he becomes defensive or blames somebody else, etc. So that's the third tribe there. And then the only way out is actually help those people to get rid of those toxins. So help them stop using those toxins. And also help them to be successful. Give them that feeling that you are great as well and you can make it. So if you have an environment like this, try to bring the success. Celebrate the small wins. Help the people to be happy about small things. All those practices from appreciation, etc., are actually helping you to get rid of this environment and build a real, agile environment which you want to do. So that's a typical company where we start as agile coaches, the typical traditional management organizational style. 50%, right? But there is another one. That's something which we try to achieve with Scrum. 22% already there, so that's a good news. It's not 2%, it's 22%, not too bad. And it says, we are great. It's about us. It's not about me anymore, fighting for my own goals. It's about us. And we together, we want to achieve something. We together, we have one goal. And if you think about implementing Scrum in the organization, that's what we built at the very first beginning. We grab a lot of people, 5 to 7, call them a team and say, hey, your goal is supposed to be deliver value to the customer. It's not about you code and you test, and you do the analysis and you do that, but it's about we together deliver value. So you come up with a higher purpose of that team so they can take it as a shared common goal. And of course, it's not simple. It's not happening just by itself. But after all, it brings fun. People are enjoying it. So to give you some of those feelings, when I go to the company in a stage before, I am great and you're not, those people in the teams are like very demotivated. They're usually very quiet. They don't speak up. So when they say, how's it going? There is a quiet as a response. And then they say, so, how do you like Scrum? That's good. And nothing. You say, oh, well, very nice place to work. Actually, I'm happy I'm not an employee here. That's my first feeling whenever I enter that type of organization. And actually, the reason why I am working as an agile coach is that in half a year, we can switch the organization into those islands of enthusiastic, motivated people who comes with creative ideas and saying, hey, you know what we thought last night? Well, tell us your idea about it. But we come up with a thing that we can do the mob programming, for example. And I said, like, wow, good, try it. And tell me how you like it, and we have a good conversation. And then I feel sorry. I can't be their employee. And I can't work with them. And it's such a huge change in just a couple of months. So that's something which you can make possible all around you, but start small. After all, it's all about how can I help the other people? How can I become part of some group? How can I create a sense of belonging? And there is one interesting book, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And it actually helps you with building that first team sense, emotion. And Patrick Lencioni says that actually you have to build it from a bottom up. So therefore it's a pyramid. You have to first build the trust. So if you go to the team where there's like lack of trust, that's the quiet environment I've been describing before. Because why should I say anything in front of you when I don't trust you, right? Last time I did that, you use it against me. I'm not going to do that anymore. So lack of trust. Then fear of conflict, right? So that's the second step. If you trust each other, people start to have fun little by little. But when I sense that we have a disagreement about this or that, for example, which library are we going to use? I stop. Stop talking, try to disappear. Because last time we've got a big fight. And I was not happy about it at all. So I'm afraid. But eventually you fix it with a good facilitation and safe environment, etc. And there is a lack of commitment. So to tell you the truth, lack of commitment is typical for most of the organizations who are like starting with Scrum. And you can recognize it with a lot of excuses like, what if this person is ill? Or what if this item is underestimated? Or what if there is a new change request? Or what if there is a critical bug? They are finding excuses so they don't have to commit. But it's only the safety is not that high. So increase the safety, say, hey, if you fail, that's fine. You learn, you do the retrospective. And you know what? You're going to make it better next time. That's okay. Instead of you are fired. The next one would be lack of accountability. And that's already quite on the top. So you have all that trust and you can talk about different solutions and you can comment. But then when you see that we as a team are not going to make it, I don't say anything. Because it's not mine. Well, I care, but it's not mine, it's his. So he should take care of it. And finally, the last one is like inattention to the goal. So after all, everyone should have one goal. That's what we try to achieve with the whole Scrum. Have one goal all together. We want to deliver value to the customer. I am not delivering a code. I am not making sure the tests are passing. We are delivering a value together. So that's the whole kind of pyramid, and it can help you step by step to build such a great teams and to be more confident in this stage of a tribal leadership. And one more thing, there is a different leadership style coming along. And that leadership style is an opposite of a leader-follower. It's a leader-leader. So you want the other people to come up with smart ideas and agree on them. Help each other. And that was actually a tribe which this Girl Scouts been trying to come up with. That was actually a tribe where I've been invited when I was 11 or 12 years old. And that's actually a tribe which I built many years after, 10 years back, in the organization where I've been working as a manager. That was the most important aspect of that, how I can help the other people in our organization to become leaders. It's all based on self-organization. But it's still we and them. It's not me and them, but it's we and them. And the last one, like 2%? Yeah, 2% organizations, they achieve a kind of a Zen state, I would say, very special state. And they say, there are no competitors. Life is great. What do you mean by competitors? You know what? We fight against the cancer. This company, well, they fight against cancer as well, so they are together with us on the same boat. And it's very, very far from most of the people, just 2%, worldwide organizations got it. And organizations like that exist, but they're saying life is great. And it's a lot of fun because you are not worried anymore about anything. You believe that if you do it right, if you help other people, it will pay off back. And it doesn't have to be like life critical, like against cancer, right? It doesn't have to be non-profitable at all. It's just a state of mind when you say, I'm done with myself first. Actually, I am done with us and them, and we help each other. In a sense, in Agile and Scrum community, we are having a small, tiny parts of that environment. So some of us are helping each other, recommending clients in a network with like no provision, nothing else. We just say, well, we need to help those people to implement and understand Scrum. And I don't have a time, so how about if you contact that guy? I think he might be a good fit for you. And that's it. If I look at it from a stage before, I would never do that because he is my competitor, by the way. And I can't do that. Yeah, he might pay for it, but, right? So it exists in various different ways. And there's a true Agile organization which is about. Not about competing, not about those other people. And if you want to build it, you have to get rid of the central piece. Those people who tell you what to do and how, they don't exist anymore in those organizations. It's just all self-organized. We make, those companies, they make, of course they have a shared vision and shared goals and the same direction. But they are free to choose their way how to get there. They are free to come up with smart ideas, so they often do the open space conferences as an internal thing in the company. And whoever wants, they join, they come up with ideas, and they do them. They do those hackathons, word cafes, and all those things which helps you to build communities and networks across the organization. And again, you can start small, right? Try it a little. Once per half a year, we do the open space and see what happens, right? So decentralization is one piece. The other one would be responsibility. So in stage 3, I am great, you are not. All those leaders are saying, but yeah, I understand that Scrum and that Agile and that collaboration and that team, but who is responsible? And then we say, team. No shared kind of hiding behind each other. Who is responsible? I want a name. And then if you apply that, who is responsible at the team level, at the organizational level, at the whole company level. So recently I've been coaching a team of executives who's been dividing the company like this garden there. So one of them being solely responsible for finances and no one else can touch it. The other person been running the software kind of IT part. And again, no one else can comment it. No one else been even looking at it. Because then, I might say, hey, I would do it differently. And that person felt offended. And they start with a good intention, I believe. But as the time went, they get more far from each other. And they've been building a huge fences in between each other. And they've been getting more far away. And they actually find out that the tree over there is putting a shadow on that garden over there, and they start to argue and fight with each other. So what we try to do instead, this is mine, this is yours, say it's all our company, all our department, all our together. So let's talk about it, what I'm going to do differently, so it's gonna work. How are we going to agree, right? So it's a shared responsibility, but it starts with everyone. How am I going to help the whole and make it better? Finally, the leadership style, right? It's about being able to understand, get awareness first, right? Be able to sense and feel and get some inputs from that team kind of structure. And then be able to embrace it and say, hey, okay, that's our company. We have those teams here, we have those different structures there, we have those smart people, they can make it. So, and how am I going to control it, or drive it, or shape it, or how I'm going to help that network which is created from that organization. So that's the new style of leadership. So after all, what kind of tribe you are? So on the right side of that line, there's a traditional thing. That's still the waterfallish traditional management structures. The best you can create from those type of organizational structures is, I'm great and you're not. That's a stage 3. And it's work. The companies are successful with that. But if you truly want to be successful, you go to the left. You go to the left there. And there is, those 4 and 5th stage. We are great, or life is great. And Agile is actually a way how to achieve that. It's not about practices, not about tools, not about anything else. So, how to become at the higher tribal leadership stages, how to become more happy. And finally, what kind of tribe you like to be. The decision is always on you. It's always your decision. No one else can decide it for you. You may feel obligated or pushed, but after all, it's your decision to sneak out and say, hey, we are going to do it differently. And I'm going to start with myself. The summary, as they said, I finished the book, The Great Scrum Master Way. And there were 3 ways I thought would be good to remember. And help people to become leaders. And use the leadership style, leader. The second one, decentralize and build networks and communities. And force a collaboration and self-organization at the organizational level. And the last one is open and transparent communication. So it's up to you. You can always change it. And I trust you that your organizations, in a very short time, gonna be at least, and we are great, and in the next time, on the life is great stage of tribal leadership. So, any questions?
Можно смелее.
Hi, thank you very much for the awesome presentation. It was great. My question is, how do you explain to people that they live in the organization that is blaming and to make them fix it, or to ask them that it is better to move to the next level?
Well, start small, right? Start to identify those patterns of blaming, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling, and slowly by slowly make it a better environment. Every one of us is blaming sometime. Let's acknowledge that. Every one of us is defensive at a certain point of a time.
They will be defensive when I'm saying that they are in the defensive organization.
So you start very small. I usually make it very transparent what I want to do. So I draw them this picture of those 4 toxins and speak about them and say it's normal in every organization. Where are we as a team or organization the most? And let them say it, like either by the stickers or really move through the space physically. And then when they see it and acknowledge it, like, yeah, so do we want to do something about it? Are we happy with that much blaming? Then the people usually say like, well, no, we are not. But it's about the coaching. So after all, it's about the coaching skills. But I would make it visual for people so they can say, okay, I'm blaming as well, and I don't like it, so we want to change it together.
Okay, thank you.
There was a lady next to that.
Thanks a lot for the presentation once again. So my question is, there has been so much said about the millennials coming, specifically to the IT world, and from your experience, do you feel this wave and a gap, a difference in your approach? Would you really recommend to specify this category, or would you say that people in the end are statistically, psychologically matching the same patterns?
I think it's all about the culture after all. So what I do, I choose to only focus on building the right culture, and the rest will come if it's important.
So, just to sort of continue, have you ever met a situation when you faced a certain psychological barrier because you had to deal mainly with millennials right there? Or?
Yeah, it can happen. But after all, you can change any environment. It's a mixture of a change management, mixture of a coaching skills, mixture of a listening skills. Because you first have to listen a lot to embrace what's really here in this space. So then you can change it.
Agree. Thank you.
There was somebody in the back, I don't know where, but...
Hi. Thanks so much for coming and delivering the speech. I have such a question. What is probably the best practice that you would recommend out of your experience, which would lead any organization to go a level up? Just something you could think of really, really fast.
Best practice.
Something you would recommend for anyone sitting here. Let's say to go from level 3 to level 4, just as an example. Something you love to do, something you love to implement in an organization.
From level 3 to 4, I would start with a retrospective. Because that is building common ownership. That gives a safe, hopefully, a platform where the different people can speak about how we want to do it and what do we want to do together. And as that retrospective, as the beginning of that series, I would run something which is called Design Team Alliance. So it's a specific coaching tool where you first agree like how those dream teams looks like. How does it feel to be part of a dream team? It's a little bit of essence of a dream where we all would love to be if. And then we say what makes us a great team as a second step. And then as a third step, we talk about those fears, like what are we afraid of? What can go possibly wrong? So, for example, people are saying, actually, I'm afraid we start blaming again. Or we start to be defensive again, right? Those type of things. And then in the last section, you talk about, okay, so we have those 5 points we are afraid of. Sometimes it's like 20 if you have a difficult team. What are we as a team going to do? How are we going to react to overcome those difficult patterns and to make it happen? And we make that thing visual. I usually draw it on a flip chart and keep it on a wall so they can see it and we can point to it. We can say, it feels to me that there is a lot of defensiveness again. What do you want to do about it? So you can just point your finger to it and the team will say, oh yeah, that's true. We said that we are going to do this, this and that, so let's do it, right? And you stop it. And if you facilitate it well, they're getting better. So retrospective and design the team alliance.
Yeah, thank you. And just to follow up, if you would to identify if there are, let's say, level 2 and level 4 cultures, would you recommend for level 2 to skip the level 3 and try to just jump into level 4, or gradually drag them in there?
Well, I believe it's not possible. Unless you're done with yourself, which means you've seen your own success. I am great, at least. You can go to the number 4. Because you feel, but I want to be promoted, and I want to get this. And it doesn't lead anywhere. So you have to be done with yourself. To be able to say, hey, it's not about me anymore. I'm successful anyway. It's good. I'm a great person. I'm great at this, this, and that. I'm not that good at this thing, and, I'm fine with it. And I don't know that, but I can improve, right? But it's not important because I believe we can do better things together. And you have to be, I'm not saying how long you should be in that stage, but you have to be there. So make those people successful to bring them into the level 3 and then move them one level further.